Hi, welcome to Astrology for Gain Traders. My name is Olga Morales. Now, today I'm just going to do a short preview of some of the insights from my book, from my Gann files, and this volume 1 is called Dawn of the Seventh Day. Now, part of this book, chapters 4 and 5, is focused on Sepharial's work. That he wrote in the World Horoscope and the Hebrew astrology, which is totally fascinating and now totally can be applied to current days, and you'll see why when I show you a couple of these charts. So let's get started. So basically, the 36-year Hebrew cycle is from, if you want to read more about it, there's Sepharial's book called The World Horoscope. And what I noticed in this, the last cycle in the 36 Hebrew cycle is the Sun in Pisces. Now the time frame being between 1981 to 2016, actually this year. So we know that Pisces is a 12th sign of the zodiac and thus the end of a cycle. Now, these cycles start on the 21st of March of each year. Therefore, as this Pisces cycle ends, another must start on the 21st of March 2017, and that is actually the beginning of the dawn of the seventh day. The next cycle is Aries, ruled by Saturn for 36 years. This is a complete new cycle. Last time Saturn was in Aries, that ruled the 36 period, was in 1008 BC. Yes, exactly 3024 years ago. That is a completion of the whole cycle. That is 7 planets times 12 signs times 36 years, or decans, and that is 3024 years. Now, in the book I show how that's related to the Great Pyramid of Giza and also the Bible, and that's why it becomes such a complete and fascinating journey. Okay, so let's have a look. This is a quote from Sepharial, page 27, from the Hebrew astrology. It's the joint rulership. By the contrary revolution of the planets according to their natural and their diurnal orders, each sign of the zodiac is ruled jointly by 2 planets, and from the combined natures of these planets and the appointed offices in the world, presage is made concerning the destinies of the several countries according as they come under the rule of one another of the signs. So you can get more information about rulerships, countries, and so forth from Sepharial, and also I've listed it all in my book as well. So the diurnal order is basically linked to the days of the week. So we get Saturn for Saturday, Sunday is the Sunday for the Sun, the Moon is the Monday, Mars is the Tuesday, Mercury is the Wednesday, Jupiter's Thursday, and Venus is Friday. Now Venus was always the 6th day of the week, okay? And then Saturday would be the 7th day when we rest. Now that's all explained in my book. Now the natural order, also called the Chaldean order, is the closest and the slowest, which is Saturn from the Sun, and then going down through the planets to the fastest, that is the Moon. Okay, and closest to the Earth. So it's basically the cycle between these 2 orders. It gets a little bit complicated when you read it the first few times, but I do set it out quite easily in my book for you to understand. So here is the last cycle that is completing in 2016, which is the Pisces cycle, the Sun in Pisces. And what I love about this is that when you start analyzing it, you can see some amazing patterns. For example, I've color coded it just to make it easier to see, and they're all color coded in my book, so that basically there's a repeat after 7 years, as the planet repeats, but it's in a different sign, and that's based on septimal law. Or the law of 7, when what we sow in 1 year after 7 years is reaped according to this cycle. Now, just looking at it really quickly, I mean, Mars is the one that tends to cause more hardships and more aggression, violence. We notice him a lot more, okay? And you can see that in 1987 there was a jewelership between Saturn, Mars in Virgo, all right? So this is when we had the crash, okay? Now, if we have a look in 1994, we had Jupiter in Aries and Mars in Aries. So it's that thing. This is when there was a lot of talk of war. Okay, if you look back at that time, it was like a pivotal point in there. Yeah, and then when we get to Mars, Jupiter and Mars in the sign of Scorpio is when there was 9/11 in the United States. Okay, and another crash in there. 2008, it was Mars. It was a double whammy. Now, when the doubles come up, Mars, Saturn, Saturn, whatever the sign is, it's a double impact. And sort of Mars in Gemini. Now, remember Gemini, according to WD and WD Gann and all the old astrology books, is the sign that rules the United States. So it's interesting that this is when we had the global financial crisis in 2008. Okay, and then the last one we had last year, and this is another double whammy where it's Mars in Capricorn, and this is when we had all the violence in the world, but also, protests against the governments, the debt in the world, and all that protest, violence, wars. Okay, so that is one. Looking at it that way is so amazing. Now you can also do this for all the other signs and planets, and in the book I go back quite a few cycles, and of course we move into the next cycle, which is a 36 years ruled by Saturn in Aries, and that will, you'll have that for the next 36 years to analyze. Okay, so if we just quickly look at this is the S&P looking back. Gann says always look back. So this is 1987 when there was a Mars and Saturn in Virgo duality, and we know that we had the crash in that stage in that year. The 94, it was a Jupiter Mars in Aries. This is when there was a lot of war talk. If you look back, 2001, there's a Jupiter Mars in Scorpio, and that's when we had the 9/11 crash in here. 2008 was Mars in Gemini, and that's the beginning of the financial crisis, global financial crisis. And 2015 we had a lot of aggression and war happening during this year, as we know, terrorism, and the Mars Capricorn. When you look back in time when that's happened before, you'll understand how important this cycle is. So I've had people write to me about my book, how much they love it and enjoy it, and how much it's given them insights that they would never have seen before. And the thing is, when you get it, you need to see what I've presented and then look back. Don't just read what I've written without exploring it further, because that's what it is. It's just for you to give you some insights so then you can further do your own research. So I like hearing people writing to me, telling me what they've found once they've read my book, which is the whole point of it. So this is my book. If you haven't read it already, it's called Dawn of the Seventh Day. And some of the topics I cover in Volume 1, which is 7 days, the Great Sabbath, Septimal Law, the Septiform System of the Universe, the Jubilee Cycle, Gann Square of 7, which is not in the public domain, and I have the square, and you can explore that quite a lot as well. What 777 means, the Seal of Solomon, the Law of 3, number 36 of the Sun, 36-year Hebrew cycles are what I've been talking about, the Great Pyramid of Giza in the Bible, why there are 418 pages in the Tunnel Through the Air, Psalm 119, and of course throughout the book I talk about links to Gann's novel Tunnel Through the Air. So I hope you like my short presentation and you see just how amazing this cycle explained by Sepharial and is, and because he only finished it up to a certain point, my book sort of extends on his work, and you can have a look at what's coming up in the next 36 years. So thank you for listening.